like actually understand what we are doing, to articulate it very, very, very well, to justify our design and our choices we are making. So students have to, learn to internalize design frameworks and mental constructs that guide their process over time. You are doing this today, tomorrow you will do it again, and every day, every now and then, when you keep repeating the same thing repetitively, you are developing a culture towards designing whatever you're going to do. When you get to a different environment and they want you to adapt to what they are doing, especially those who have to go and do internship in some offices out there and stuff like that, you find it difficult in the beginning adapting because you have come up with a strategy that works for you. What is more annoying is that wherever you go to, depending on which strategy works best for you, that is not what they also do. But they want you to adapt to what they do, even though in the end you produce the same results. How do you go about all this? Today we are going to talk about all these things and then find ways to come up with a standardized studio process that actually brings results that everybody wants. If only and only that everybody will be interested in results, then you don't have problem. But process counts really very much in academia. You cannot take your scheme today, disappear after 2 weeks, and come and present your final drawings, and then you set a standing ovation. You need to take everything through a process, the conceptual sheets, your research, and all that you have done. Today, we're going to look at all these things and then how it's really informing design, right? Okay. So this is more about critique and all that. But in addition to like fostering this critique, the role of documentation also comes to bear. It's very, very important. There's this book called Process Books. It's written by Brunner in 2009, I guess. Yes, it's very vital for us as students to go through. Maybe if I have time, or if you have time, you can look at it. If I download the PDF, I can send it to Limor. He will share it with everybody who is on the Aquila platform for you to see what exactly is inside. Talks mainly about the landscaping, the building itself, and all that. Very fantastic book. So a process book actually serve as a tangible artifact that, actually, let me say, chronicles your design journey. Okay, it really involves annotations alongside graphics to deepen the understanding. There is a need to always give visual interpretations to whatever you choose to do. Your evocative metaphors, all the things that you select, there is a need to actually give a visual roadmap to people. Text is just not enough to communicate your design process, right? Good. So studio masters, jurors like myself, have a structure too. And these are like artifacts to us too. And then we have this expectation that we want to see in the work. And it has to be there to make it fantastic as it should be. You get. So in the subsequent slides, I will take you through all these things that is expected of you and how you can make it look better over time as you go through or journey through your architecture study or even in your practice as an architect already. Now, these methods are going to emphasize the importance of the reflective practice, like I mentioned earlier, and also the cognition. This time around, we have even gone beyond just normal cognition to metacognition. So you need to understand what really you are putting in place to ensure that all these things are not just some things that are popping up, but really, really making sense. You get it in your education, in your form evolution, using clever pictures and all that. So yeah, of course, this is very, very interesting to bring out that wicked design. I have a friend called Wachi. Wachi will always tell you that actually the design has to be wicked. So before you bring out that wicked, there has to be some metacognition in place. You need to actually have looked at everything in detail before you can say that, okay, this is what I want to present before these people for the grade I want, or for to satisfy the client, for what money he's paying or she's paying me for. So these are going to be holistic approaches to design processes, and then they are going to, suit everyone because I know we all have an adaptive mindset. So of course, as future designers, we need to, inculcate this kind of character skills and attitude always towards every different scheme that we get opportunity to design. And so today, briefly, we are going to look at about 10 topics. Perhaps we'll do 5 today and do 5 tomorrow, depending on how best. I'm trying my best that we can do this maybe in 30 minutes or 45 minutes so that we don't have to use a whole hour. So Understanding the brief is one thing we'll talk about. That is reading between the lines. We are going to talk about research methods for informed design. Research is very crucial in design. We are going to also talk about the concept development from idea to intent. We are going to talk about the power of sketching and visual thinking. We're also going to talk about model making. That's like bringing ideas to life. Okay, model making is very, very, very crucial. We're also going to talk about time management and beating the studio burnout. There's always a burnout in the studio. How do you beat it? How do you manage your time? We're also going to talk about critiques, reviews, and learn from feedbacks, like constructive criticism. I love criticism when they are constructive. And when it is constructive, you will know. When it's coming from bad blood, you will know. All right, so we are going to talk about collaborative design. That's working in teams without losing yourself. And also, we will look at sustainability and cultural relevance in studio projects. Sustainability and cultural relevance, very, 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 very crucial. And the last thing we will look at will be preparing for the final jury. How are you going to communicate? How are you going to manage your confidence? And then the art of storytelling. Any design without a story is not design. It means the design itself has no character, has no life, has no process, has no identity. You get, so we'll look at all these things and then we'll call it a wrap. So yeah, of course. Let's bro and then look at a design brief. What's the design brief? Okay, so I'm not going to like hit on these points. I'm just going to flow, and then by the time I'm done flowing on this shit, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, everything here will become very comprehensive for all of us. I think it will be a good approach to make all of you understand what we have in here. Okay. All right. So let's look at decoding the design briefs effectively. Now we have to understand the brief. That is reading between the lines. Now, understanding the brief is the cornerstone of every successful design project. You understand that? Understanding the brief is the cornerstone of every successful project. Now, I'll tell you something. Brief is not only about space. The brief is not only about, okay, I'm designing, let's say, a bed sitter, okay, washroom, bedroom. In fact, let me even look for non-domestic schemes. I'm designing, let's say, a bar station or a bus terminal, waiting area, office for ticketing, space. No, 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 no. A brief goes beyond just the allocation of spaces and what makes the place have those, crafted places where the activities really have to happen. A brief goes beyond that, and we'll look at that. Now, a brief actually provides the architect with the client's expectations, the site conditions. Take note. A brief takes care of what the client wants. It takes care of what the site really should be, how you should go about it to leave the site natural as it is, without necessarily interfering with how the building should appear aesthetically, and also negatively affecting how the environment should behave after the building is sited there. And so, of course, there are a lot of constraints. The brief has to take care of those constraints also. The brief must also, most importantly, take care of the unspoken hopes of the client. Every client has a hope. Every client has a very big and gloomy picture. They want a lot of things. You can meet a client that has just one plot of land, let's say 70 by 100, or let me say 70 by 100 feet, or 30 by 21 meters. And then the client wants this Olympic size swimming pool. Olympic size swimming pool, really. We've not even indicated the footprint of the actual structure, the superstructure. Talk less of the parking space, and some space even left out for landscaping. But then he said, if we could have an Olympic size swimming pool, this would be fantastic. This is like one of the unspoken hopes of the clients. But one way or the other, you need to satisfy this client with all these things that he requires. Not say, okay, I've provided something. No, but something that actually the client will be like, wow, you really made use of this site. You have really satisfied me. This is what I wanted to do. It would be nice to do business with you again. Architecture is a business. Design is pure business, commercial business, right? Okay, so you need to take care of the client's unspoken hopes too. Students like us, often rush into sketching without thoroughly unpacking the brief. We really, really need to take our time. Look at the scheme that is given to you. Look at what the client is requiring. Look at what the studio staff is requiring. Look at what the scheme is asking of you, and then pack it one by one. The program sheet is one of the most powerful materials to get you started. Whenever you are in school, they give you a program sheet to introduce a scheme, whether Central University, Care University, wherever you find yourself in architecture or design school. The program sheets or the introduction sheet to a scheme is one of the most powerful materials you will need to kickstart. It has everything that you need to get A or to get distinction in your scheme. It has everything. It has the score criteria. You can even tell from how they write the schemes that this thing, if you pay really good attention to it, you're going to do justice to this scheme and then go away with it. Now, why don't we pay attention to these things when happen like that? Is it merely an oversight or just that we are just too eager because we are time constrained and we really want to get to work? But even if you want to get to work, you still need to understand what the brief is saying. So these oversights really lead to designs that miss the mark. You will definitely miss the mark. But in our studio culture, for instance, architecture school, here university, of course, architecture 3, where I do most of my stuff with the students, getting to guide them, produce the best of the works. Decoding the brief properly sets the direction for the entire semester. If you have the first brief for the semester and you understand it and that you do justice to it, there's this propensity that you do well in the rest of the semesters. First impression is very important, not only to studio masters, but to you yourself as an individual. It works on your confidence. It tells you that actually you are good and you can actually do very, very, very excellent when you put effort. You get when you put the effort. So what happens is that in the studio, for instance, like KMSC, frequently we incorporate themes like social housing, urban resilience, community development, requiring like layered interpretations. So when you have to read in between the lines, really, you will identify that these things are not explicitly stated. The scheme will not tell you that, you know what, we want you to design a community development center, but that's not what we are looking for, not a community development center. The life that the community development center brings is what we want. So if you just bring brief that is spelling spaces, but doesn't go ahead to speak about the influence of having that space on the community, on the people, and all those things, then the brief or the design has failed from the start. That's why I'm saying that brief is not only about the spaces you create, but it's also about the impacts after that spaces you are creating, right? So yeah, of course. Let's say a brief might state that design a market. But in Ghanaian context, this will mean acknowledging communal patterns, like the open social spaces for vendors and all that. Now, let me do a quick exercise, right? Now, if you're tasked to design a market, I just need one person. What brief will come into your what first space will come into your mind to design a market? And anybody can put up a hand. And, I'll call if you're supposed to design a market, what's one of the things that will come into your mind? Okay, Angela, go ahead.
Okay, the first brief that will come into my head would be um, the place should be easily accessible and people should be able to move around easily, no matter the size of the staffs they are carrying.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's a design consideration. Now, what about the space that you provide for the market? What one space would you like to put in the space? Like a selling area, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. That is what the scheme is asking you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. That's what the scheme is trying to tell you. That's design a market.